their attempt to market dictatorship to Americans is successful, scaring is caring, we're in for a lot worse. As historian Nancy McLean writes in The New Republic, lurking behind the full frontal assault by Donald Trump and his enablers lies a far more far-reaching threat.
Corporate media's campaign against the Convention of States movement continues. A recent segment of Joy Reid's show on MSNBC featured attacks on Convention of States, as well as its president, Mark Meckler.
We are talking about an incredibly radical vision of America. But this time it would be made permanent by a nuclear option that exists in the Constitution's Article 5. They have come together to push for this constitutional convention. They've been pushing it out to the states since 2013. The leader of this effort, a man named Mark Meckler, formerly head of Tea Party Patriots, now head of the Convention of States efforts, has said that they seek to roll back 115 years of progressivism.
What's more dangerous, hypothetical nightmares about a citizen-led movement to enact a constitutional solution, or the decades of very real consequences of a corrupt and incompetent Congress? The Convention of States Florida team released a new video featuring everyday citizens who answered that very question.
Departments within the executive branch, within other branches of government, that we had no say, and those are the ones that are dictating your life.
Legal, constitutional, non-military way to get power back to the people.
We need to call a convention of states, and according to Article 5 of the Constitution, that's just what we have a right to do in this country. If 34 states agree, through the legislative process, we can call a convention of states.
And the feds don't want you to know that because they have all the power right now. If you want to have a purpose, if you want to save your country, if you don't want to say there's nothing I can do and then just give up, then be active. Action is the best thing you can do.
On Wednesday last week, Convention of States hosted a live discussion exposing the Biden administration's 30 by 30 land grab plot and shared action items for how ordinary citizens can fight back.
So 30 by 30 was initiated in America on January 27, 2021. This program is actually not congressionally authorized, has no constitutional basis for it. It's all being done by federal fiat. So what the Biden administration has done is they have taken every administrative agency and retooled them in order to achieve this agenda.
It does not negate the fact that we need a convention of states. We absolutely do, because the only way you're going to stop this coveting is to make the National Park Service and the Department of Interior roll back into their constitutional boundaries, I guess you could say.
You can watch the full hour of that broadcast at conventionofstates.com/30x30. A secret opponent of Convention of States and longtime GOP Senate leader Mitch McConnell announced he would be stepping down from his leadership post toward the end of this year, while serving out his full term until 2027. The Swamp Turtle has long discouraged state legislators in his home state of Kentucky from passing Article 5 legislation, but now several Kentucky legislators are acting in open defiance to Uncle Mitch. Last week, our 34 Ready legislation was introduced in the Kentucky legislature. While the COS Action Article 5 application sets the agenda for the convention, 34 Ready is COS Action's model legislation for preparing for the Article 5 convention, including how the legislature will select commissioners, as well as the processes for instructing, governing, and recalling commissioners. After a highly successful Capitol Day, the South Carolina team gained 13 additional co-sponsors for our 34 Ready legislation. South Carolina was the 19th state to adopt COS Action's Article 5 resolution. Additionally, the South Carolina Senate Medical Affairs Subcommittee favorably passed the COS-backed House Bill 4624, which would ban gender transition procedures for minors. The subcommittee's decision propels the bill, which previously cleared the South Carolina House, to a full Senate committee hearing. Elsewhere, two of our state teams helped pass important legislation through their state houses this week: West Virginia's Parental Rights Bill, HB 4313, and one of Georgia's election integrity bills, HB 974. Our Georgia team sent over 450 messages to their Georgia state reps. The COS Tennessee team helped our allies at Alliance for Defending Freedom achieve passage of parental rights legislation through committee this week by a 6-2 vote. And finally, here's some snapshots from COS events going on around the country, including Oregon, Hawaii, Illinois, and New Jersey. And now, you're up to date with Convention of States.